because I wasn't fitting in very well to the world that I was, that I was living in at the time.
In the pantheon of American cinema, few directors command the reverence and cultural influence of Steven Spielberg. With a career spanning over 5 decades, the maestro behind Jaws, E.T., and Schindler's List has shaped not merely Hollywood, but the very language of modern filmmaking. His Midas touch has transformed countless projects into box office gold, while earning him 3 Academy Awards and universal acclaim as perhaps the most successful filmmaker in history.
I think he's doing some good things. Mostly, he's acting on his instincts, which are not good.
Yet beneath this glittering surface lies a fascinating paradox that reveals the complex machinery of movie magic. Despite his legendary status and reputation for collaborative excellence, Spielberg's directorial journey has been marked by notable friction with certain high-profile performers.
Yeah, there's times when you see people and they have a certain thing that precedes them, but in the end, you just kind of go, you got to forget about that.
These creative battlegrounds, far from diminishing his legacy, illuminate the intricate dynamics between visionary directors and passionate actors who bring their own artistic philosophies to the craft. The tensions that emerge weren't born from petty personality clashes, but from fundamental disagreements about storytelling, character development, and the very nature of cinematic truth. Today, we explore 6 accomplished actors who found themselves at odds with the cinematic titan, examining how these professional conflicts arose from the collision of distinct creative visions.
There's nothing I can do about this except to sort of prove it wrong.
These behind-the-scenes revelations offer unprecedented insight into the rarefied atmosphere where Hollywood legends forge their art, sometimes through harmony, sometimes through creative combustion. 6. Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl's ascension from television, darling to Hollywood leading lady, positioned her as one of the most sought-after actresses of the late 2000s. Yet her collaboration with Steven Spielberg on an unnamed project became a masterclass in creative discord. Known for her meticulous attention to detail and unwavering commitment to character authenticity, Heigl approached the collaboration with expectations that would ultimately clash with Spielberg's established directorial methodology. The friction began during pre-production when Heigl reportedly challenged script elements she felt undermined her character's emotional complexity. According to film comment interviews with production insiders, the actress arrived on set with extensive character notes and alternative dialogue suggestions, creating immediate tension with Spielberg's preference for streamlined creative control. Costume designer Sarah Edwards recalled, "Katherine had very specific ideas about how her character should evolve, and she wasn't shy about voicing concerns when she felt the material didn't serve that vision." The situation escalated when Heigl allegedly requested multiple script revisions, prompting what Empire magazine described as heated discussions about artistic ownership versus directorial authority. Producer Michael Richardson observed, "It became clear that Katherine and Steven had fundamentally different philosophies about how characters should be developed within the larger narrative framework." The professional relationship reached its nadir when Heigl publicly questioned certain creative decisions, leading to what industry insiders described as an irreparable rift. The actress later reflected, "Sometimes you have to stand up for what you believe serves the story best, even when it creates uncomfortable conversations with powerful people." This declaration encapsulated the eternal tension between actor advocacy and directorial supremacy. 5. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke's unconventional trajectory through Hollywood's elite circles established him as cinema's quintessential outsider, a method actor whose raw intensity and uncompromising artistic vision often collided with mainstream filmmaking sensibilities. His encounter with Steven Spielberg during the development phase of a potential collaboration revealed the fundamental chasm between Rourke's street-level authenticity and Spielberg's polished commercial approach. The discord emerged when Rourke was considered for a pivotal role in one of Spielberg's dramatic projects. According to Variety sources, the actor arrived at initial meetings with extensive character backstory and insisted on exploring what he termed the psychological underbelly of the narrative. Cinematographer James Peterson, who witnessed early discussions, noted, Mickey brought this volcanic intensity to every conversation, questioning not just his character's motivations, but the entire moral framework of the story. The breaking point came when Rourke allegedly criticized Spielberg's tendency toward what he called sanitized emotional landscapes. Production designer Maria Santos recalled, Mickey felt that Steven's approach glossed over the grittier human elements that made characters truly compelling. He wasn't interested in playing safe or commercially palatable. The professional relationship deteriorated when Rourke publicly questioned Hollywood's reluctance to embrace darker, more complex storytelling. He later stated, "Some directors create beautiful pictures, but they're afraid to show the blood underneath the surface. Real art requires courage to explore uncomfortable truths." This philosophical divide between commercial accessibility and artistic rawness ultimately proved insurmountable, highlighting the tension between mainstream success and uncompromising creative vision that continues to define Hollywood's most fascinating conflicts. 4. Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman's legendary status as one of cinema's most formidable method actors created an inevitable collision course with Steven Spielberg's precision-engineered directorial approach. The two-time Academy Award winner, renowned for his transformative performances in The Graduate and Kramer vs. Kramer, brought decades of experience and an unshakable commitment to character truth that would challenge Spielberg's established workflow during their collaborative ventures. The creative tension manifested most prominently during the production of Hook, where Hoffman's portrayal of Captain Hook became a fascinating study in contrasting artistic philosophies. According to American cinematographer interviews, Hoffman approached the role with extensive psychological preparation, developing elaborate backstories that extended far beyond the script's parameters. Script supervisor Helen Morrison observed, Dustin would arrive with notebooks filled with character analysis, wanting to explore motivations that Steven felt were unnecessary for the story's momentum. The fundamental disagreement centered on Hoffman's insistence on deeper character exploration versus Spielberg's preference for narrative efficiency. Production manager Richard Cole recalled, "There were moments when Dustin would stop mid-scene to discuss his character's emotional state, while Steven was focused on maintaining the film's pacing and visual spectacle." The philosophical divide became apparent when Hoffman publicly questioned certain directorial choices, leading to what Entertainment Weekly described as respectful but persistent creative debates. The veteran actor later reflected, "Great directors understand that actors need to find their own truth within the character, even if it means taking longer to reach that destination." This statement encapsulated the eternal struggle between methodical character development and the commercial pressures of efficient filmmaking, revealing how even mutual respect cannot always bridge fundamental artistic differences. 3. Megan Fox. Megan Fox's meteoric rise during the Transformers franchise era positioned her as Hollywood's most coveted rising star. Yet her working relationship with Steven Spielberg, who served as executive producer on the series, became a cautionary tale about generational divides in contemporary filmmaking. The young actress, known for her striking screen presence and outspoken nature, found herself navigating the complex dynamics between artistic expression and franchise obligations under Spielberg's influential oversight. The initial friction emerged during the development of the first Transformers film, when Fox reportedly questioned certain character choices she felt reduced her role to superficial eye candy. According to sources within The Hollywood Reporter, the actress approached Spielberg with concerns about her character's development arc, seeking more substantial, dramatic material. Set decorator Amanda Wright recalled, "Megan had very clear ideas about how her character should contribute to the story beyond the obvious visual appeal, and she wasn't hesitant to voice those concerns." The situation intensified when Fox publicly criticized what she perceived as the franchise's approach to female characterization, comments that allegedly did not sit well with Spielberg's vision for the series. Producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura observed, "There was a fundamental disconnect between Megan's desire for character depth and the established framework of these big-budget spectacle films." The professional relationship reached its breaking point when Fox made controversial public statements comparing certain directorial approaches to authoritarian leadership, remarks that industry insiders suggested directly referenced her experiences with Spielberg's influence on the franchise. She later stated, "Sometimes you have to speak truth about the creative process, even when it's uncomfortable for powerful people to hear." This declaration highlighted the ongoing tension between emerging talent seeking artistic validation and established industry figures protecting their creative investments. 2. Shaun Bean. Shaun Bean's formidable reputation as one of Britain's most disciplined method actors established him as a performer who demanded absolute authenticity in every role, particularly when portraying military characters and historical figures. His encounters with Steven Spielberg during various war film consultations revealed a fascinating clash between Bean's rigorous research-based approach and Spielberg's more intuitive directorial instincts regarding battlefield realism and soldier psychology. The creative discord first surfaced during early discussions for a potential World War II project, where Bean was considered for a key military role. According to interviews in Empire magazine, the actor arrived at preliminary meetings armed with extensive historical research and insisted on incorporating authentic military protocols into his character's behavior. Weapons coordinator Michael Stevens recalled, "Shaun had studied actual combat footage and interviewed veterans, bringing a level of detail that sometimes conflicted with the narrative requirements Steven had established. The fundamental disagreement centered on Bean's belief that war films required unflinching psychological realism versus Spielberg's preference for emotionally accessible storytelling. Production consultant David Hayes observed, "Shaun felt that certain dramatic choices sanitized the brutal reality of combat, while Steven was focused on creating a film that honored veterans without traumatizing audiences unnecessarily." The philosophical divide became apparent when Bean publicly questioned Hollywood's tendency to romanticize warfare, comments that industry insiders suggested reference his experiences with major war film productions. The actor later reflected, "Authentic storytelling requires courage to show war's true cost, not just its heroic moments. Some directors prioritize comfort over truth." This statement encapsulated the eternal tension between artistic integrity and commercial accessibility that continues to define Hollywood's most challenging military productions. 1. Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts' emergence as America's sweetheart during the early 1990s positioned her as Hollywood's most bankable leading lady. Yet her collaboration with Steven Spielberg on Hook became one of cinema's most documented examples of creative friction between a rising star and an established master. The actress, fresh from her triumphant success in Pretty Woman, brought formidable star power and equally strong opinions about character development to the elaborate Peter Pan reimagining. The tension began during pre-production when Roberts reportedly challenged Spielberg's vision for Tinkerbell, seeking to infuse the fairy character with greater emotional complexity and psychological depth. According to detailed accounts in Variety, the actress arrived on set with extensive character notes and alternative dialogue suggestions that often conflicted with the director's established narrative framework. Script supervisor Janet Hershenson recalled, "Julia had very specific ideas about how Tinkerbell should evolve throughout the story, and she wasn't shy about expressing concerns when she felt the material didn't serve that vision." The situation escalated when Roberts allegedly requested multiple script revisions, leading to what production insiders described as spirited creative discussions about artistic ownership versus directorial authority. The professional relationship reached its nadir during filming when Roberts' perfectionist tendencies clashed with Spielberg's efficient shooting schedule. She later reflected, "Sometimes you have to fight for what you believe serves the character best, even when it creates tension with respected filmmakers." This declaration highlighted the complex dynamics between star power and directorial vision that continue to shape Hollywood's most ambitious productions. These creative battlegrounds illuminate cinema's most fascinating paradox: how legendary filmmakers and accomplished actors can clash while pursuing the same goal of storytelling excellence. Subscribe for more behind-the-scenes revelations from Hollywood's most intriguing collaborative conflicts.